Ready when you are. If you close your eyes, it almost feels like you're eating runny eggs. Yes, it's the science fiction rating system, and we are back. We are back with a big one. Are you ready for a big one, Chris?
Always.
Are you ready for a big one, Sam?
I am ready to take your big one.
Great. It's The Matrix, 1999. It's a big one because it was a big film then, and it's still considered a big film now, isn't it? No, there's not anyone really out there who hasn't heard of The Matrix, I would say.
It's also, I think, a very big film for people of our age, isn't it?
Yes.
With the right age for it.
It's a film that was, I'd say it's a film that kind of, a lot of films copied afterwards. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And also it's a film that they would say kind of, as according to the industry, it changed things technically within the industry as well, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's
also a film that was a lot of people's first DVD, or at least an early DVD, wasn't it? Like, I know I watched this film endlessly. When we were watching this now, I was surprised how well I knew it. It's because I had 3 DVDs when I first got my DVD. Matrix, World Is Not Enough, and I've forgotten the other one, because there just weren't any out, were there?
Yeah.
No. Oh, I think Fight Club, was the one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, how long before this had you seen The Matrix previous, Chris?
I don't know, probably 10 years?
10 years. Oh, okay.
A long time.
Yeah, I'd say about the same for me. How about you, Sam?
Yeah, I think the same. I tried watching it a few years ago, but because of the greeny show I mentioned last time, I gave up. But
yeah.
I think the version I ended up watching this time, I think, had the green.
Well,
it's very hard to get a non-green one, yeah.
Well, that was, the plot-wise, I'm not going to say an overview of the plot, but actually that was my first question was, how green was your Matrix? Because mine was quite green. Especially mine, I found my version, which was a Blu-ray version, the beginning was really green, and then either my eyes got used to it or they toned it down from then on. But
so I think that I've got a feeling that they do actually tone it down for the film, because obviously I've got the 4K one, and it's hard to watch that side by side with the RIP. But I did the last shot of it, the last one. He flies off. Yeah. Spoilers. And it looked very similar, so I think that maybe as the film goes on, they get rid of the green. But the start, it is so green, isn't it? It looks ridiculous. You can see why they...
Yeah.
From what I can gather, it's every home release after the DVD, isn't it? Up until the 4K had this green. And all the streaming versions do as well, if you buy it off iTunes or whatever. It's ridiculous.
And it's something they added in afterwards, is that? Did you say, or...?
Yeah, the DVD has got the original version. It's not got that. It's when they read it for Blu-ray. That's when they added this green, and I think it's something to do with the fact that Reloaded and Revolutions have that green grading all over them.
It did. It was horrible.
Yeah,
yeah. So they try and make it look more like that, and it's only with the 4K release that came out this year that they've finally realised we should drop that and gone back to the original print, which does look a lot better. It looks, to be honest, the 4K looks incredible. It looks really good.
Okay, well, I think that's quite naughty of the Wachowski brothers, team, sisters, whatever we would call them.
Yeah, I couldn't find if it was necessarily them who'd done it either. I couldn't find any sort of... If it was... you've got to be, hasn't it? You can't imagine they'd regrade a film without the director's consent, would you?
No, and if you, you said, if it's to do with the fact that they did it in the next two, then they kind of have gone backwards and gone, oh, we better do it in this one as well.
Anyway.
Well, we start The Matrix, part 1, which I've named Smith versus Trinity or Phone versus Truck. And it's kind of like, it's a good action opening, isn't it? It's like, you're kind of straight in there. You've got Trinity, who's kind of quite an iconic character, played by Carrie Ann Moss, who, this was her big break, she said. She hadn't really done, as you said before, you couldn't really think of anything else she was in, could you, Sam?
No.
She's in Memento. Do you remember her in that?
Not really, no.
Oh, there you go, yeah. And it starts out where it doesn't really. There's not much of a setup. We just have this lone figure on a phone. There's some weird voiceover. We don't really know what's going on, and then suddenly all these police turn up, and this weird kind of these weird agents, this kind of FBI agent looking characters. The main one, Agent Smith, played by what's this?
Hugo Weaving.
Thank you. Hugo Weaving. I have problems with his surname. And it's pretty much just a whole big load of. A big fight scene, isn't it? It's a big old massive fight scene. What do we all think of this as an opening?
Strong.
It's good,
Great.
isn't it? It's strong, isn't it?
You get a vibe for what the action's going to be like.
Yeah.
I think Cara and Moss it acts this wonderfully as well. You know, this scene where, like, the end of the chase, where she jumps through the window, rolls down the stairs, and lands and puts the guns back up.
Yeah.
There's so much like she conveys in her face there, just like she's going, get up, get up, get up. It's fantastic.
No, it's...
like I felt like tense even watching it now.
There was some good games out at this period, wasn't there, which had this sort of stuff as well, wasn't there?
Yes, there's a kind of a Lara Croft vibe to her whole, the kind of movement with the double guns and stuff.
But
there was like Max Payne.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that came after this. That's one of the things that Matrix spawned. Yeah.
And they had like a big game when they brought out the sequels, didn't they? A Matrix game.
Yeah.
Enter the Matrix, yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
It's fucking awful. Yeah, it's a terrible game. Funny though.
But it's... Yeah, I think I agree. It's a very strong opening. It's all action. There's some pretty cool shots. There's the shot most people remember is her jumping up in the air and then it kind of spinning around as she does that kind of cool crane kick thing. And it's just like, it's a lot going on. There's a lot of action. You're kind of getting the feeling that there's goodies, baddies. You're not really sure who anyone is or what they're doing. But I think it's good to have that kind of action at the beginning because there's a kind of a slowdown after that. But it's not as noticeable because you've had this quite good opening, I think, a punchy opening.
Do you remember as well that the marketing campaign was like, whatisthematrix.com and all that? And that it was, you weren't really sure what was going on, were you, I don't think? I remember like that whole thing of like, it's like very early internet. It was kind of like you sort of knew that it was this fake world, but you didn't really know there wasn't the whole like media blowout you get nowadays. No. So I imagine watching this then was even more effective because it was like, what is going on? What is this world? You know?
Yeah, no, definitely. And definitely. And we move from this to part 2, which is the hunt for Neo. And we're then introduced via, again, we have the kind of zoom of the kind of scrolling text. And we have Keanu Reeves waking up, looking confused, which is a thing that I believe, I wrote this down, I think it happens 7 times in this film, that Keanu Reeves wakes up. It's kind of an odd thing that they keep repeating, but I'm pretty sure it's, 7 times.
Well, it's the whole, what's his name in the cave, isn't it? That's the,
is it?
Waking up from Plato, waking up from the dream of reality and all that sort of stuff. That's what they...
Yeah. And he's got there's some messages on his screen that say, the Matrix has you, follow the right rabbit, and then it says knock, 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 and then there's a knock on Neo's door. And kind of plot-wise, we establish that Neo is he's a hacker, he's into some shady stuff, he does. We don't really say what they've done for this gang, do they? I mean, it's not really.
No, it's a bit wishy-washy.
Yeah,
it's that standard sort of computers.
It's Yeah, exactly. Hacking. Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah,
isn't he selling them mescaline?
No.
They say that, but what is that a real thing?
No, he's got a disc though, isn't he? He's giving them a disc in the book.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
because the guy says, "Oh, well, it's mescaline."
Referred to though in that conversation.
Yeah. I think he's hacked. Yeah. He's done anyway.
He's given them a disc, so it's like a burnt copy of like some video game.
He just pirated something.
Yeah, it's
Command and Conquer Red Alert 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it.
Them days where you could just shove it in a CD copier.
Good times. Yeah.
But Neo's kind of bummed. He doesn't look very happy. They ask the gangsters ask him to go out, and he's not going to do it until he notices dun 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 on the arm of the kind of shady guy's girlfriend is a white rabbit. So he decides to throw caution to the wind, follow them to a very 90s club, which they're playing kind of some kind of heavy metal, and then it cuts into Prodigy,
like
doesn't it?
shitty electro metal.
Yeah, and then it goes into that like, Prodigy track I quite like. But
of all the scenes to take inspiration from the sequel, this is the one you'd say no, but basically this is the setup for like half of Reloaded, isn't it? This awful rave.
Yeah. It's not
Berlin
a good scene.
Club, isn't it? That place.
Oh, is it? Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
What's it called? Sorry.
The Berlin Club, a club in Berlin. That.
Oh, is it? Is it Berghain?
I think so.
Oh, right. Big factory thing. Oh.
Huh. And yeah. And here is when Neo meets Trinity, who I quite like that line. I'd forgotten it, where he says, "Oh, I thought you were a guy," and she said, "Oh, men always think that." I thought that was quite a good line. Yeah, that's quite like that. Although she is dressed in pretty much S&M gear, isn't she? For some reason, I don't know why.
Well, that's like their vibe, isn't it? That's again, that's the kind of thing where it dates it, but also with the sequels in mind, you know, that's just what they're into, isn't it? That's their thing, isn't it?
This happened like at quite a key moment, like for us, in the sense of we're in that teenage sort of. How old would we have been when this came out?
14.
Yeah, but it's that sort of angsty. Oh, the world is
definitely
a weird play, like a gangster's sort of.
Yeah. I mean,
we knew a lot of people who used to dress in this sort of crap as well.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, Neo as a character, it's complete wish fulfillment, isn't it? Because he's this kind of, when we see him as Neo, he's this outsider. In the next scene after this, we see see him in a suit. He's got a boring job in Metacortex, a software company. He's getting bossed around by his kind of dickhead boss. You know, it is this kind of wish fulfillment that we're all outsiders and we know there's something wrong and we're just waiting for someone to come and tell us that we were right all along.
Kill myself and I'll wake up in the real world.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but maybe. But it is this. It's kind of. I think you're bang on there, Chris. It's like pretty much real wish fulfillment fantasy for a lot of the audience that watch this. That kind of teen audience. Did you know that the company's called Metacortex?
I tried to read the font, but it was too difficult to read.
It's Metacortex, as in meta, which Webster's defines as going beyond or higher, and then cortex, which is the outer layer of grey matter surrounding the brain. So there you go, little,
What do you think he does at his job?
Well, they make software.
Software programming.
I think it's supposed to be like Microsoft, but it's such an uncreative environment where his office is. It's ridiculous. And his computer's such a piece of shit, and he's there in his suit. And it's like, are these is this really like the equivalent of Apple or Microsoft?
Yeah.
You know what's weird as well? That's a made-up company, but out his window is Macquarie Bank.
Oh.
There's a big Macquarie Bank built,
which is
skyscraper
real.
opposite.
Okay, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's real.
How did they get away with that?
Was it filmed in Australia?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense then, because that's Sydney, isn't it, Macquarie Bank? Yeah.
Yes, filmed in Australia using a lot of the sets from Dark City.
Actually, it's Macquarie, isn't it? I've been to Port Macquarie. You say it Macquarie, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Don't offend the Australians, please.
No.
I'm not going to lie. In this next scene, Neo gets a package, and he has a phone in a package, and I love those phones so much. That flip.
What were they then? Nokia.
It's a Nokia Stiletto.
95.
Stiletto. 8110. In fact, I wrote it down. It's the nicknamed banana phone.
8110.
8110. Nice. Thank you.
Did you have one, Alex? Did you have one of those?
I'll tell you this. When I worked for Universal, I was in charge. 10. Well, I was in charge of the Vodafone contract. And I used to get upgrades for all the top people, and they would give me their old phones. And at one point, I did have one of these because someone was getting rid of one. And I would just ring Vodafone and say, "Oh, can you just wipe it?" And then I would just keep it for my own phone.
And was there a button on the side that you pressed that made it slap out like that?
Yeah,
that is brilliant.
It was brilliant. It broke really quickly though. But yeah, in fact, actually, that spring-loaded thing isn't in that version. They actually put it in the next version or something. They did it for the film. But then they kind of then they actually put it in real. But weirdly, at this point in the film, Neo gets a phone call. It's Morpheus.
7110, which had the spring.
Yes, there you go. See? Neo gets a phone call. It's Morpheus on the line, Lawrence Fishburne. And he says, "Oh, that's it. You know, they're coming for you. The agents are coming for you. You have to get out." And he guides him through, doesn't he? And he's in that room. And there's that great bit where he says, "You've got two choices. You're either going out with the agents or you're going to climb to the roof of the thing." And you see Keanu get out, and it's all like you see the drop and all that. And in your head, you're like, "Oh yeah, he's going to do it." And then it just cuts, and he's just being taken out in the car. And I really
think what's the plan there? Was he supposed to get onto the gantry or something? What was the...
Yeah, climb up, I guess, and go onto the roof of the building, isn't it?
Right.
But to what end, though?
Was Morpheus up there with a helicopter or something?
Maybe. But I think this is a brilliant scene because I think there's several times within the Matrix they kind of show Neo as a bit of fallible, kind of a bit of an idiot. He's a normal person. You know, they go on and on about him being the one, But in fact, there's quite a few moments where he actually fails or looks a bit of a fool. And I think that's one of the things that saves this film as a whole, because you don't have this kind of indestructible character that you do in a lot of later films where they're just, they're the hero, there's no chance, there's no danger. As Sam said before, I can't remember what film we were watching when you said that, but there's no danger, there's no peril. I think with this, even in that first early scene, you kind of get the idea that he is a bit of he is an everyman, don't you think?
Yeah. And he's very reluctant, isn't he, as well?
Yeah.
Which, when you are, basically making him a Christ figure, you've kind of got to make him and everyone else doubt him, haven't you? Because it is such a ridiculous sort of idea, which at the back of your mind, he is the one, because otherwise you've got no film. So to create suspense, you've got to keep reinforcing that maybe he isn't, haven't you? Otherwise it doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's such a...
Yeah. What do we think of Keanu's performance in general?
It's hard to talk about Keanu Reeves as an actor, I think. He's a...
Yeah.
I think his performance is... It sustains itself. I mean, you're there. I don't have any problem with it. It's not... That's probably why he was cast, and that's probably why it's so good, in the sense that he never came over as like a leading man movie star sort of persona, did he? But,
No, I'm with you on this.
I agree with
that.
He
kind of bumbles his way through it in a weird way.
But I think it is, like you say, it's really clever casting, because they surround him as well by such strong bit part players like Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie Moss, Joe, whatever his name is, Pantier. I can't say his name. They're all such a good presence that are kind of keeping him afloat, aren't they? And that's why he's the perfect role for it, because you don't want someone with too much.
And apparently, it's a lovely man.
Oh yes, everyone says, don't they? Yeah.
Do you know that Will Smith was approached to play Neo?
I didn't know that.
And he turned it down to star in Wild Wild West, so that was stupid.
Can you imagine how awful that film would be, though, Will Smith in that role?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It would be. This would be a terrible film with Will Smith in it. He later admitted he was not mature enough as an actor, and if he'd been given the role, he would have messed it up, and he has no regrets. So that's good. But it would have been awful with Will Smith. There'd have been a lot of cockiness that Neo does not need. Cockiness.
It's kind of like the beginning is kind of like Men in Black in the way, in the sort of
no, you're right with that. Yeah,
explanation of the world, and where he figures out the world. It's that there's a lot going on there in a similar sort of way.
Yeah. Well,
but also that's also why Keanu is good, because you've got half an hour of Lawrence Fishburne just ranting exposition at Keanu, haven't you? And he fulfills our role of just going whoa, and stood there and oh yeah, shit, this is a lot to take in, isn't it?
Yeah. He's kind of he's a cipher in that way, in a good way, in a kind of
yeah.
Well, we're in part 3, which I've called, which I say contains scenes of extreme belly button abuse. Yeah. So Agent Smith has Neo, and at this point, you're kind of still not sure whether it's just it is a government thing, whether
Great
there's
use of practical effects.
Very good. Yeah. Do you mean the mouth bit?
All of it, like the belly button, the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, yeah, so if people don't remember, Agent Smith kind of interrogates him. He's kind of, again, it's a bit vague about what's really going on. But then suddenly, not only does Neo's mouth seal up, which is horrible...
Weird.
Yeah, then this weird kind of... He gets this metal thing, which then turns into an insect, and he burrows its way into his belly button. Which is just horrible. It's just horrible.
Now,
isn't it?
in the rest of the films, there's no other instance where, something like that, which is kind of, it has the same appearance as the machines in the real world, exists in the Matrix, is there?
Yeah. Why is that?
Because really, if they wanted to fucking lay down some shit in the Matrix world, why don't they just have why do they have to be in the form of an agent or a law enforcement? Why don't they just have some fucking wacky
giant robots?
Yeah,
or something. Yeah. No.
I know they've got to kind of keep everyone in a real world. Whoever might see it, that might cause a breakup in the social structure of what the Matrix is. But yeah, I guess that sort of explains it. But
because don't they mention in one of the sequels, or it might be the Animatrix, that if someone sees something weird, they basically kill them they retire him. You can't risk someone seeing anything.
Yeah.
I guess this is behind closed doors, isn't it? But
that's it. Yeah, if it's on a big scale, I suppose they'd threaten their food source, wouldn't they? I suppose.
Yeah. Well, Neo's been bugged, quite literally, and he wakes up in his house. But don't worry, the goodies come and they get him, and then they use this thing to pull the bug out of his stomach again. So
that's a good scene as well.
Yeah, in the car. Yeah, that's really good. And the whole thing is that these guys are taking Neo to see Morpheus. It's
all shot so like confidently, isn't it? Like
looks
that shot in the car and things like that. It's fantastic the way
the rain and them cars are wicked, aren't they? They with the shot with what they called suicide doors.
Yeah. And we get to the house and see Lawrence Fishburne. It's another iconic kind of. There's a lot of good costumes in this film, I would say as well. He's got that great. The look of Lawrence Fishburne in this is great. Do you know that?
And the room as well, like the old chair,
shabby
things like
chic.
that. And how it's brilliant. It looks
probably
incredible.
the first time we saw shabby chic.
Perhaps, yeah. Do you know that Russell Crowe turned down the role of Morpheus? He said, I just didn't get it. I couldn't get past page 42. The world was just not interesting to me, he said. So, yeah, that's why Russell Crowe isn't Morpheus.
There's an alternate timeline somewhere with Russell Crowe and Will Smith in The Matrix, which I do not want to go to.
No.
I don't know, I'd like to see that.
What a terrible thing. So we're at part 4, pill popping. And it's a kind of a famous. This is kind of the famous. A lot of people remember this thing.
So how many people in real life ended up killing themselves thinking they were going to the Matrix?
Well, or taking a blue or red pill. Yeah. And so, you said earlier about how mainly Keanu just says, just listens to things. There's a fact here. It says in the first 45 minutes of the film, Neo has 80 lines. 44 of these lines are questions. Just over half of his total dialogue, averaging at roughly 1 question per minute. So you're right, it really is just asking what the fuck is going on.
The thing is with the script, a lot of the questions are answered with questions.
Yes. But not frustratingly in this film. I think there's quite...
no, it gets to the second and third one.
Yes,
it's fucking
exactly.
Annoying.
Yeah. Because
the good thing about this one is that they're showing you so much. It doesn't matter, does it? That they're...
Yeah, and I mean, for anyone who didn't know, at this point Morpheus reveals that every human is born into bondage. We're all enslaved in this world, and you can't be told about it. You have to take a red or a blue pill and see it for yourself. And Keanu picks which one is it? It's the one that gets you out. The red. But my question to everyone is, which one would you pick? Because I'd probably pick the blue and go back to my docile life.
I'm not life like Neon, maybe.
I don't know. I'm not the kind of guy who would have survived in the Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, I think if I'd seen The Matrix and knew what the real world was like, I'd take the blue pill.
Yeah.
But if I didn't know what, if I thought, everyone might be cool, I'd take the red one. But then I don't think if you knew they were like living in like this awful ship, being chased around by big octopuses, anyone would go out, would they?
No. Okay. Well, he does take the pill, and he has that weird liquid crawls all over him, and
that fantastic sound effect when the camera goes down his throat.
Yeah,
like, the scream goes all digital and that turns to like a modem noise.
Yeah.
He's going into arrest.
Lock, I got him. Now, tanks, now.
Fantastic sound.
Yes, which reminded me of the end of. Do you remember when we did recorded those songs in Canada, in McGill Street, and you did that?
Take on Me.
Take on Me. Yeah, as us. Yeah, it's quite reminiscent of that.
I stretched the last note. What was it? Take on Me. Yeah. We'll be gone. I stretched that for about a minute and a half. Was it? I think it was the most horrific noise ever made.
The creaky gate sound.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the next thing we know, it's part 5, which is Welcome to the Real World. And you get that great scene, which Keanu lost 15 pounds for, where he's kind of born in that tube thing, that whole kind of rebirth scene. What do you think of that?
Great.
It really, I was way better than I remembered. I thought it looked amazing.
The whole design of like what the machines are, like the insectoid sort of, they're not just insectoids. They're like, it's like marine. Like shrimps or it's really cool.
It's great.
And again, like shot so well, like the way it's close on him, and like I got shivers when it pulls back and you see them all on all the different bodies on these big long poles and stuff. Even like now, like I've watched it a million times, I was like, oh god, it's such a fantastic reveal, isn't it? It's really good.
It's a really good reveal, and it must have been like you said. That was at the time they didn't really. I don't remember spoilers or anything like that. I must have not really known that was where it was going or exactly.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
What you were going to see.
They didn't show any of that sort of stuff, did they? In the marketing material?
No.
It was all the in Matrix like fighting stuff. You didn't see any of this outside.
Today they just wouldn't be able to hold their shit like they do.
No. Well, he wakes up and he spends quite a long time being rebuilt because all of his muscles he wouldn't be able to.
Well, you know
move
when he gets sucked through the pipe and then like put into the trash.
Yeah.
Like that would just break every bone in his body.
Yeah.
Because they said he's never used his arms or legs.
No.
He'd be like when astronauts their bones just turn to mush. Like when he flies out of that tube, he'd just be dead.
Yeah.
He'd be a mess.
Yeah. No, you're right. He would be. Yeah. He's not dead.
That's the only scientific issue I've got with the whole film there, and it's and you could probably explain away. So
yeah, I don't have an explanation for that one. Sorry. Maybe
it was those
he's all floppy.
pants he was wearing.
Yeah,
those little pants, the inflatable pants.
I just think maybe he did have break every bone in his body, but they just fixed him.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it could be that.
That'll do. Yeah.
He's on a hovercrafty spaceship thing, isn't he? The Nebuchadnezzar.
I love that stuff as well. It looks really cool.
It's a good ship. It's a well-designed ship,
with
isn't
them
it?
like pads. They're wicked.
And it's not $19.99 as he thought. It's $21.99. Although they can't be sure, they say, so it could not be. And he gets to meet the crew. Do we remember the names of the crew? Because it's Cypher. Yeah, Oracle. So Cypher. Tank,
Switch,
Switch, yep. APOC,
Mouse.
Yep.
Who's the big one? Oh,
Dozer.
Dozer,
right.
Dozer.
So my question to you is, what would your name be in this world? Because they've obviously all their hacker names, aren't they? They've all picked new names because they've not got the name. So I've put that I'd either be malware, busy signal, or Bluetooth. I think Bluetooth is quite a good one. What would you be?
Sam kind of has hacker names. He's always had hacker names.
Oh, you could be Wheel the Robot.
Well, Disco Box was my
Disco
of
Box.
the era. Yeah, it's a Beck secret track. That was my name of the time.
That's quite good. What would you have?
Schlock. I've been called Schlock as well.
That's a good one.
Yeah. What would you have, Chris?
I don't know. My mind doesn't work in that way.
Yeah. Just think of a computer word.
Mainframe.
Oh, mainframe. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, okay.
Cat5 cable.
Cat5 cable.
Delete cache.
Oh, yeah.
Delete internet history. Remove cache.
Yeah, that's good. But you kind of, this is the section where you've got quite a lot of, again, I'd say this film is very well paced because at this you've got now a whole big, I mean, it's very graphic and we're getting a lot of explanation here as to what's happened.
I love how it explains the world, though, how it shows some more of them fields of the.
It's quite T2, isn't it? I thought.
This is a post-internet T2, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's so bleak as well, isn't it? Like you really buy how bleak it is.
Yeah.
You?
It's horrible. Yeah. So we're all batteries basically for the computers. The AI.
That's a scientific thing. That doesn't make sense.
Oh, okay. Doesn't it?
Well,
no.
If the calories they have to put into an animal to get heat out, by definition would be less than what you put in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's all kind of you see it all. It's all beautifully done, but it's all like Sam says, it's all horrifically depressing. And it
have you just an aside here? Have you read about the advances in AI recently and the road to super intelligence?
No,
it's scary. I know that.
Is it going to scare us? Yeah.
I mean, there's a huge article I read about it by Tim Urban, and basically this is kind of inevitability. What is not that we'll be batteries, but the computers will know more than us probably within 40 years, and that because they'll know more, we won't even understand how to comprehend what they are, what they're doing, because our brains have got limits that they won't have.
Oh God,
it was terrifying.
It's got a name when they get to a point where they can
singularity
self-replicate.
Yeah, singularity that will be. But like it's just about how a lot of estimations that it was a long time in the future, but because of obviously like the exponential growth, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Once you pass the point, it's literally like days rather than years that it becomes something we can't stop because it's exponentially sorting itself out. So be scared.
This could be our future.
It's also enough to worry about.
Yeah.
It could have already happened, right? But it's kind of keeping itself under the radar.
Yeah. I'll link you this article because
I went to like this big. I was filming at like this big powwow of like tech people, and it had like the guy from Google, it had the guy who started up LinkedIn and Facebook, and there were like some Uber people here. And all they wanted to ask the Google guy when he did his talk was what the fuck is going on with AI, what are they doing? And these were I was sat next to fucking Peter Gabriel.
Oh, wow.
There was mental people there.
And what is going on with AI? Can you tell us? Did Google tell you?
Well, they put everyone's mind at ease. Okay. They try to, but it's just total bullshit.
Okay.
The 100 best AI experts in the world at a conference were asked, when do you think AI supersedes human capabilities? 10% said 2022. 50% said 2040 and 90% said 2075.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then they think they're being overly cautious about that as well. So,
but defined take over human capability. It doesn't have to overtake human capabilities. It just has to have the ability to defend itself, and that it has to have basic rules and the ability.
This is the point where we are no longer mentally capable of stopping it, in terms of it's operating on a level where we cannot comprehend what it's doing, so it shows us some sort of maths or whatever, won't be that, where we literally couldn't work out how to stop it because we haven't got the mental capacity to do it.
God. It probably only need the IQ of a dog and because everything's so networked and it'd only have to have self-preservation and some of the basic rules.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, luckily, The Matrix, at this point, knows that the film itself knows you're a bit worried about this, and it knows you've kind of got a bit oh man, there's a lot of talking, and we get to part 6, which is the famous line, I know Kung Fu, or as I've called it, a very long training montage made very interesting. And at this point, they kind of reveal that, so The Matrix, you can you can have stuff uploaded, because we're all plugged in, so we can have stuff uploaded into us. So we can literally learn anything very quickly. So you get this great thing where they kind of get Neo, don't they? And they start running all these training simulations in him. So he learns all these cool Kung Fu moves. And then Morpheus goes in there and they have this brilliant fight scene, which I still looked really good. They both look really good in it. It's really well shot as well. It's all very standoff. It's not quick cuts. It's not... it's nice long shots where you see. And again,
it's all filmed in practical, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've just got 100 cameras around them.
Yeah.
That's why it still looks good, doesn't it? Rather than some CG guy jumping up in the air. Their movements, think about how Marvel superheroes jump, stuff like that. That still doesn't look right, does it? The way they kind of leap off the grass for that.
Shit.
No, I mean...
There's a weight to this, isn't there, that's not there in that kind of thing.
Because all the stunts was the legendary Hong Kong guy, the Wu Ping Yen, who did a lot of the kind of... And he's the kind of guy that the kind of wire work stuff. But... he read the script and he liked it, but he didn't really want to do it, the film. So first he asked for loads of money, and they said, yeah, that's fine. And then he said, I'll only do it if I have complete control of the fights. And then they were and I get to train everyone for 4 months. And they said, yeah, to that too. So he just got...
That backfired.
Yeah, so it completely backfired. So I don't know if he really just didn't want to do it, and then he just kind of... Yeah. But he was a bit polite, but...
and a house made of gold.
Yeah. But all this, I think, again, like I said, I think the pacing is perfect, because this is exactly what you need at this point. You need some action, you need to see some cool stuff, you need some fighting... but you're still learning. They're still dropping in quite a lot of cool things about the Matrix, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think it's funny though, they do drop in the one thing I think is a bit of the weird thing is when Morpheus does that big speech about all the people in the Matrix, like us, basically, are normal people. But because they don't know the truth, they're the baddies as well. Do you know what I mean? So he does this speech, doesn't he, where basically he says that it's all right to kill a load of people in the Matrix, even though you're just killing people who are in tanks over there, because they're culpable for it.
Well, it's like the Borg, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why they're all part of the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just feels like they have to have this in here.
I don't think they ever endorsed killing normal people.
No, they don't.
They don't in any of the films.
No, it's not that. It's just it's kind of the excuse, isn't it?
Yeah, there's that bit with the girl in red dress, isn't there?
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
the
anyone
bit. Yeah,
could be anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just this kind of a bit of an excuse for the. If later on, when there's a huge action scene and he's dispatching all these police,
yes,
you're not going to be like, oh, but hold on, that could be me because I'm just in a tank in the Matrix and it's not my fault I was made to be a policeman or yeah. But anyway, at this point, would you like a quiz?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've got a quiz. So it's called Reeves, Fishburne, or Weaving or Wearing, right? So I've got characters played by Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, or Hugo Weaving. So I'll say the character's name, and you have to guess which actor. And if you can get the film, you get a bonus point.
Sorry, what were the three again?
Lawrence Fishburne.
Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So those three. So the main guys. So who wants to go first?
Chris can go first.
Chris. Okay, Chris. So Furious Styles. Is that Reeves, Fishburne, or Weaving?
Reeves.
Oh, it's Lawrence.
Is it Lawrence Fishburne?
It's Lawrence Fishburne.
Is it that?
It's Boys in the Hood. All right, I'm going to give one to. I give one to for Sam now. Kai.
Who?
Kai. Yeah, Kai.
Keanu Reeves.
It is Reeves. Do you know him what?
No.
47 Ronin. Do you remember that?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, vaguely.
Okay. Bill Smoke. Is this for Chris? Is that Reeves, Fishburne, or Hugo?
Weaving.
It is. Do you know him what?
Is it Western?
No, it's not. Sam, do you recognise that name? I think you've seen the film.
Do you recognise it? Yeah.
Or read the book, maybe. I'm not going to give you the.
Oh, yeah. It's the David Mitchell Cloud Atlas.
Yes, I'm not going to give you a bonus.
Yeah.
Right. Dr. Ellis Cheever.
Dr. Ellis Cheever.
Is that Reeves, Fishburne, or?
Let's go Keanu Reeves again.
It's Lawrence Fishburne in Contagion, 2011. Okay. Hopefully Chris will get this one. We'll see though. Bob Arctor.
Reeves.
It is Reeves. Can you remember him what? We've seen this film. We've reviewed it.
Oh.
What was his name? Bob Arctor?
Bob Arctor.
Arctor.
Come on, Sam must remember this as well. No one remember. It's him in Scanner Darkly. Yeah. It was that bad. Okay. Sam, Noah the Elder.
Noah the Elder. Lawrence Fishburne.
It's not. It's Hugo in Happy Feet. The thing about penguins. Okay. We'll do kind of. And we've got one. Sam's got. Oh, it's even Stevens at the moment. Okay. Jack Traven. This is for Chris. Jack Traven. Jack Traven.
I'd say Keanu.
It is. Do you know him what?
Nope.
Speed. That's his character in Speed.
Is it?
Yeah, so it's funny, isn't it? That's why I was shocked by that, because I never remembered his name in that. Anyway. Okay, Sam, Noland.
It's tough, isn't it? This is. Lawrence Fishburne.
It is Lawrence Fishburne. Do you know him what, though?
It's Apocalypse Now?
It's in Predators.
Oh.
It's his character from Predators.
Oh, right.
Okay, right, one more each. So, Chris. Chevalier Danceny.
I'd say weaving.
It's not. It's Reeves. It's Reeves in Dangerous Liaisons.
Oh,
which is a film that everyone would forget he's in. Okay, so this is the last one for Sam, and if he gets this, he's won the game. I'm trying to find a hard one. Theodore Brazel.
Keanu Reeves.
No, it's Lawrence Fishburne in Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, I thought it was Bill and Ted.
No.
Yeah, you were getting thrown there.
Yeah.
He scammed me.
It's a draw. We'll leave it at that as a draw.
You didn't go for Johnny Mnemonic?
I didn't have Johnny Mnemonic.
No. A bit easy, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the only one I had that I thought might be easy, but for Sam would be Johann Schmidt. Would you have known that?
Johann Schmidt. Recognise the name. No, I don't know.
Oh, that's the Red Skull in Captain America, which was huge.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It was a draw, so we can move on. So that's a good draw. There's nothing wrong with a draw.
No.
Back in the Matrix, we have a reveal. So first, it's part 7, which is Ignorance is Bliss. So first we get the whole thing of the squiddies, as Chris mentioned before, the kind of weird... they're kind of sentries, aren't they, that attack the ships in the real world.
Yeah. They're aquatic as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everything's like aquatic, I think.
No, but like you say, it's this good mix of kind of insect and kind of fish. And they have an EMP
It's
on
not
the...
a fish. It's
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Sorry. They have an EMP on the ship, which they use at the last minute. But did you notice that not only does Keanu Reeves not know what an EMP is, he kind of questions what AI is as well in that scene earlier. They say...
Didn't he work for a software company?
I think it's like Morpheus is like, oh, AI, and he goes, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I wonder though if the robots don't let AI be a thing in the Matrix in case they discover another AI that would topple the robots.
Motherfuckers!
Mind blown.
Or someone figures out that they're in a Matrix.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But also going on in this scene is there's a big kind of a push of the.
How do you keep a civilization at one point? That's my question to you.
Interesting. I don't know.
Do they not keep resetting it? Isn't that said in a later film as well?
Oh, you might be right.
Yes, they've reset it. I read this the other day. They've reset it 6 times.
Isn't that because it cocked up, though? Like, there was like a Neo type character.
Yes, there was a Neo every 6 times, Yeah, that is it. Yes, they keep resetting it. Yeah. Well, someone who...
how do you stop, like, 9/11 and stuff like that happening? That's my question.
Well, they want it to happen, don't they?
Maybe it does.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Because it's that whole thing about how he says, like, we gave you a utopia originally and you rejected it, so we had to make the world.
Yeah.
And what about, like, the humans just decide to have, like, World War III? Or they have wars anyway, probably, and, like, they're just killing off, like, the batteries.
Reset it then, wouldn't you, again? And
yeah, because I think the idea is the past is because they've kind of got predefined parameters for it, haven't they? Like, I bet world leaders aren't... robots, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like agents.
So they're like going through the motions of like, okay, now we do this, now we do that, and it's just the drones, like they live, I suppose, isn't it? Like where,
you've fixed it.
Yeah.
good.
Damn. But what about people like David Icke?
Because maybe they're really woken up. They really know that they know the reality.
Yeah,
they just flush them down the tube, wouldn't they? Just be like, all right.
But there's a David Icke in reality though, so maybe. Or are we in the Matrix? I don't know.
Well, that's what Thingy thinks, isn't it? That Elon Musk.
Does he think we're in the Matrix?
Yeah, he thinks that. What was it? Something happened and he was like, for this to happen, we must be in a simulation.
Oh God!
Show me what that was. Hang on. The chance we're not living in a simulation is 1 in billions, says Elon Musk.
We're not living in a civilization.
No, that we are in a simulation.
Oh, okay.
The strongest argument is that 40 years ago we had Pong, 2 rectangles and a dot. That's where we were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. What's that going to do with simulation?
That's weird.
Well, it's going to the argument there as it's similar to like if we met aliens, it'd be almost certain that they wouldn't be biological.
Yeah,
because
he says, even if the speed of those advancements dropped by 1,000, we would still be moving forward at an intense speed relative to the age of life. Since that would lead to gains that would be indistinguishable from reality, it would seem to follow the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because basically everything eventually would get to the stage where you could do this. Yeah, that's what you mean, yeah.
Because in the whole length of time, we've only been mucking around with computers for 50 years.
Yeah. Man, this episode's scary.
Well, someone who doesn't want to be in the Matrix is the character Cypher. And I think, again...
No, he wants to be in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, okay. You threw me with your big AI thing. Anyway.
He likes his steak too much.
Yes. And I think, again...
It does look like a good steak, and he has got a good argument.
Well, this is the thing. And I think this is a good... Again, another big plus on this film is... The scenes before that, he makes a few little comments, doesn't he, to Neo, like, oh, it must be real pressure being the one, and all this stuff. And then literally you see that he's a traitor very, very quickly afterwards. It doesn't hold it back. It doesn't let that be in the final act or anything. It just kind of gets all that out there pretty early on. That he's basically trying to screw over everyone so that he can be put back in and forget it all.
So presumably he was bought out of the Matrix because he's got the connections, hasn't he? So he can remember a time where...
Yeah, he's been out for 9 years. Yeah. And he hates it. And he wants to go back in. And he's willing to betray everyone to do it.
See, in like game theatre, there's no... he's talking about, can they reset him to be like, rich and not remember a thing? There's no evidence that they've got the technology to do that.
But he doesn't know if they're lying, and he won't know when he wakes up and he's just been flushed down the tube, will he? So
it's not very good game theory, is it?
No. There's also the good scene where Mouse is talking about the food and stuff, and he says about how chicken tasting like everything. And did you know that the thing he talks about is tasty wheat, which is my quote at the beginning. But in the German version, they replaced the word tasty wheat with sex crispies.
Wow.
So there you go. I don't know why, but yeah, we just did.
Sex Crispies.
Sex Crispies.
And maybe in German, the same word for sex is basically the same.
Maybe.
It's got no differentiation, you know what I mean?
Maybe German.
In German, Sex Crispies is probably just a thing they have to eat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe
to be honest.
German listeners can confirm this one for us. But yes, Mouse quotes that thing, to deny our own impulses is to deny the very thing that makes us human, which is from... Bertrand Russell, that quote.
Apparently in German, the actual clinical term for the activity of sex it's a massive word. It's like it's got about 10 syllables to it. So it's obviously that's what's happened there.
I have to say Sex Crispies, is that what you're saying?
Geschlechtsverkehr.
God.
Anyway, carry on.
And then we move into the next part 8, a bald kid bending a spoon, where they're off to see the Oracle, aren't they? So basically, Neo isn't sure if he's the one. Morpheus thinks he's the one. They go to see the Oracle, who's this kind of middle-aged black woman who's baking and smoking. And did you notice what was on the TV in the room?
Yeah, the rabbits. Yeah,
Night of the Lepus. What the heck was going on there? Why were they all watching?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they're watching Night of the Lepus. I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really weird. And he goes in that room.
Is it because they're Aussie or New Zealand or something?
I don't know.
Oh no, it's American, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really weird. It's not like a cool reference, is it? It's
cheap one.
But yeah, there's all those.
This is the worst bit of the film for me.
Well, yes, there's all these little kids. Well, it's got children in it, hasn't it, Sam? There's all these little kids in there who are displaying these powers that are far beyond what Neo can do. I mean, way, way beyond.
Did they say that they were the other
Yeah, they're the potentials.
They might be the one.
Yeah. So why hasn't taken any of them? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then there's this big kind of bit of dialogue, and it's a bit... I'm not sure about this bit either, to be honest with you, Sam. I think that...
This is the other bit that they took from this film for the sequels, is this Oracle bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's rubbish.
I mean...
And why are the kids dressed like little Buddhists and stuff as well? What's going on?
Yeah, no. And I can see why this bit is in the film, because you almost need, at this point, for Neo to... Because he's so doubting himself, and it's all going a bit wrong... You need him to think he isn't the one, to be the one. It's that whole thing, isn't it? But I don't really like the Oracle character. I think it's a bit of a stupid character.
I don't mind it in this film. I think there's just enough sort of... No, she's like a program, isn't she?
Is she?
So she's the She's not a human.
No, she's like a rogue program.
Oh,
I think that's how they explain it in
different actor, isn't it? In the next films, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they reset her or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Basically, I think there's just enough bullshit in this one. Like in the other two, it goes way off the bullshit scale as far as what they're talking about. There's just enough in this one. It's fine.
I agree. No, I agree with you all that. I'm not saying this is. But I'm with Sam on this. I think this is a weak moment in the film. I think this bit of the film is a little bit lame. I don't like it. It's also the kind of love interest is played. The whole will they, won't they with Trinity and Neo, which is I'm not sure about all that. But anyway, we'll move to part.
It doesn't last long, does it? Though.
No. It's a short scene, and I can see what's there. Yeah. We move to part 9. Whoa, deja vu, where they're on their way back, and Keanu sees a cat, and he sees a cat again. And you get him going, oh, that's funny. Just saw the cat twice. And they're like, whoa. And they all freak out. And it's like, oh, whoa, deja vu. Because deja vu means they're resetting the Matrix and some shit's going down. And it basically goes crazy. There's the police. That mouse guy pulls out those guns that are insane but don't do anything for some reason. Doesn't he? They're just...
what are they? They're like Desert Eagles.
No, he's got those 2 huge things with the clips around his arm. And he's like shooting.
Oh, right, yeah.
But then he gets killed.
The deja vu bit?
Yeah.
Since the Matrix, do you always say it's glitch in the Matrix when you say deja vu?
I do.
It's actually entered the dictionary.
Yeah.
Well, has it?
Yeah.
What, a glitch in the Matrix?
Yeah.
Well.
And that's the sign of a great idea, isn't it? That it gets that lodged in your brain that you use it every day.
Yeah. No, that's
true. Deja vu. Yeah.
But everyone, so the Oracle has said that Morpheus believes...
I prefer disturbance in the Force, but carry on.
The Oracle has said that Morpheus believes in Neo so much he'll sacrifice himself, and that Neo must decide to sacrifice himself, so lots of sacrificing. Anyway, at this point, shit goes wrong. Morpheus gets captured by Agent Smith. They manage to escape.
It's a good fight where he's fighting with the agent and... you can tell, even though Morpheus is so strong and you've seen, he's a strong fighter and all that, but he just gets mullered.
Yeah, so. And I quite like that shot down the shaft of the plumbing where it's just black on either side.
It's great.
I think that's a really arty shot for quite a kind of boring moment. Yeah, just climbing.
And there's a great shot as well. And they fly over. The helicopter goes over the building tower. And they're sort of below it, and it kind of pans up and over the thing. It looks. I think that is directly from Ghost in the Shell. That shot, though.
Yes, probably.
I think,
if they can change the Matrix and get rid of doors and windows and stuff, and why don't, if they want to pick anyone up, why don't they just put a safe around someone? Put lead.
Well, because I think the idea again is that these people will be able to get out, wouldn't they? They'd be able to not. The safe wouldn't be able to stop them. I don't know. It is. I think you can't really think about it too much, can you? Because it is so.
Oh yeah.
Whooshy, that kind of thing, isn't it?
I'm clutching at straws.
No. Well, we'll move to part 10 where everything goes wrong. But anyway, it's this again. We get a kind of good. This is where they really push the character of Smith here, don't they? Because you've got Smith and there's the other 2 agents who are obviously a lot more...
But you've also got Cypher tried to double-cross...
Oh, yeah, sorry. Right? Cypher tries to double-cross everyone. Sorry, yes, you're right, Chris. I'm missing some plot here. Cypher tries to double-cross...
Kills
the crew, doesn't he? Quite horribly. Yeah. No, he murders them, doesn't he?
That gun's pretty cool, isn't it?
But it's quite horrible the way... It is quite good, that line where he says, all I do here is unplug them, but you have to watch them die. That's quite a good line.
Not like this. Not like
that. Yeah. So yeah, but Cypher gets his because Tank's still alive, takes him out. Meanwhile, so they get out the Matrix, it's all fine. But meanwhile, Smith has Morpheus. He's going to torture him, gives him this truth serum or whatever it is to try and get him to admit the password to Zion. Zion, terrible idea. Thanks, sequels. Anyway, but this is I think this is the point where you kind of get Hugo on full form. Because the other 2 agents leave him alone, don't they? And then he does that thing, classic kind of action film thing where he takes his glasses off and he unplugs his little ear thing. And he just does these big speeches about how he thinks humans are disgusting and they're a virus and, he just wants to get out. And he's kind of unhinged, isn't he? I mean, what do you think of Hugo's? I think he's really good in this. What do you think of Hugo in this?
Right.
It's good, isn't he? I love his voice. His voice is this kind of bland nothingness, but... it kind of almost
it's that thing
odd.
again of where they've they've created an iconic villain, haven't they? Because it's something not been done before. That kind of FBI man gone bad kind of
in
thing.
the other films, like he goes rogue as well, right?
Yeah, he does. He's back in the second one, definitely, isn't he?
Because he's not like. I'm sure that he.
Isn't it the third one?
The machines don't control. He didn't work for the machines by the end of it, does he?
He's the third one, yeah. In the second one's that fight where there's like hundreds of them.
I thought that was in this. Yeah.
And then that's when he kind of like dies in quotation marks, isn't it? And then he comes back. I think you're right. As like a rogue. Yeah.
And then his psyche gets put into a human in the third one as well, right?
Is it?
I can't remember. But you get a lot of stuff about, like you've already mentioned, they created the Matrix once and it was a utopia, but we rebelled against that because we can't handle that. And this is where they say that they created the Matrix to be the kind of nadir of human evolution. And I think this is literally, and I know they didn't do this deliberately, but I think this is one of the saving graces of this film, because the question, has the Matrix dated, is irrelevant. Because in a way, it is set in 1999. It doesn't. It doesn't matter that 1999 looks 1999. Those flip phones look stupid now. Everyone's sung all this
and by
stuff.
definition, it has to stay still.
It is. It's a period film because it's set then, because that's when they've made the Matrix, which is actually, in retrospect, very clever. Because the film doesn't really date in a weird way.
And the production design of the future parts is done in such a clever way.
Yes. Yeah.
In it's sort of that shabby, mechanical. It's really well done, the ship interior and their computers and things. I think it's quite, because it is ageless in the way it is.
But my question to you is, right? If you were the AI in the Matrix, so you could create the Matrix to enslave the human civilization, what period? What would you? I mean, I think Chris has already answered this. What period of time would you choose to kind of enslave everyone under? Because I think you've already answered this, Chris. What you would do is kind of have now, but have like giant robots and more obvious kind of things to keep everyone in check.
Really, you'd want them all to be like the pyramids, peasants people, wouldn't you? Because all they need to do is, in the real world, is live.
Yeah. So this is what I've said, Chris. I thought about this, right? I've said medieval times, because there's a distinct class structure. All the kings could be like programs. There are no robots or science or computers. So if you did ever get out, you'd freak out so much because you're a medieval serf. So you wouldn't understand what a spaceship is. So it just would be useless. What do you reckon?
And it also reduces because there's no communication, world communication. It reduces their ability to.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Have I cracked it? Have I solved the computer's problems?
I think that's where they went wrong. Yeah.
I reckon what you'd do is, how they want to make them as productive as possible in terms of as a battery. You'd work out all the conditions that would make them as efficient as possible, all the stimulation you need to get them as happy as possible, like in terms of everything they need, and then you just make a very small simulation for each one of them where all those stimuluses are hit all the time necessarily. So they're not going to enjoy themselves, have they, necessarily? But if they're trapped in a way that
so
every time they try and die, they're shocked back alive or something like that.
So we're all in
then
a personal one.
You're reducing. Well, no. Everyone's got this. It's just something that would appeal to a base human, but uses less processing power, because all this is wasted. If they're trying to make an efficient farm, you don't give a cow a million hoops to jump through. You give it a bit of grass.
Yeah.
So you don't give a human the whole world. You give them a tiny room with just the things that are there to stop them from killing themselves or.
Yeah, you're
saying it's a bit brutal.
Yeah, I think.
That's why you could have a medieval world in reality, where it was lots of small communities.
Yeah, but that's a human thinking, because to a robot, why would a robot care about a medieval world? They wouldn't, or any world. They'd just be give them enough stimulation to keep the brain going, keep them feeding and alive, and a baby's brain. I don't know. There's a bit of light and a bit of stimulus on its skin, like a feather or something on its skin, and just do that on a minimum scale, no light, keep them in a little room until they die.
Well, yours is depressing, but probably accurate. Whereas
you just keep them all in a coma. There's no real need to have a networked thing at all, really, right?
No.
But it'd be a much worse film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, yet again, The Matrix is...
It'd be good if there were, different zones, like Westworld, and Neo could go into, a different zone.
Yeah.
Like there was some like experimental zones that they were trying to get more power off people, so they were
they're trying to reboot the Matrix, aren't they?
Oh God! Really?
And I think a good idea for that be that they literally there was the robots rebooting it, and they did choose a different time period.
Yeah,
that'd be a good idea,
that would work. That would be more interesting, at least.
Making a medieval film then, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, all this talking that we have done and the film has done, again, cleverly, right now we move to part 11, crazy action, crazy, where basically, this is again the bit everyone remembers, Neo says, I'm going to go back in there and save Morpheus, so he's chosen the path where he may die, but he saves Morpheus. Trinity says, you're not going alone, she goes with him, they say, what do you need? Guns, lots of guns, they get the guns, and then you get that massively brilliant sequence to the Propellerhead song, where they just shoot the shit out of that that room, which is just
lobby. That Propellerhead song is the thing that dates this film more than anything. I think.
You think?
Don't you think?
Oh, I still
it's
like
awful.
That song.
Jigga jigga waggle waggle wow wow jigga jigga wow wow wow. That awful kind of.
I didn't mind.
It looks amazing.
It looks so
I'd
good,
much rather have the soundtrack over it.
And I love the way they just drop the guns when they finish shooting them. They just drop them on the floor. I love that.
Yeah,
it's
brilliant.
Because that's almost like a computer
all
game.
the concrete, like plaster chipping off everywhere.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's brilliant. It just goes on for so long, and then they go on the roof, and there's a mad fight scene on the roof, and that's where we get the bullet time kind of move, don't we? Where he does the agent does that weird splitting one. And then Neo does that kind of the famous backwards, bullet time thing. And then Morpheus breaks out, and they get a helicopter, and God, what else happens?
I mean, it's that helicopter crash. It's like it's epic.
Helicopter crashes. Neo grabs onto the rope, manages to pull her free. Tank's like, he's the one. It's all true. And they go out, but then we're in part 12, Rage Against the Machine, which is basically just as they're about to get out, you've got what we've kind of all been waiting for, which is that Morpheus gets out, Trinity gets out, but now it's Agent Smith versus Neo.
Smith v Neo,
and no one, they've said, isn't it? No one has ever gone up against an agent and won.
Yeah,
and it's a pretty good fight, isn't it? Again, it looks great.
I love how there's that sort of tension between in the real world they're being attacked and they can't use the EMP.
Yep. They've got the EMP. So it's kind of ticking.
It's a perfect scenario, like in tension wise.
And it's great. It's a great fight. It's a great end. And then you kind of
the bit with the guns when the chambers are empty. He's like, you're out of bullets.
And they jump at each other,
Oh, it's brilliant.
I mean, I would say, it's, as you've already said, Ghost in the Shell. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of John Woo in this. There's a lot of any manga, kind of Akira.
A lot of Theodore Rex.
There's a lot of William Gibson, Philip K. Dick. Yes, I mean, there's a lot of things this references. But as we've just said...
Lawnmower Man.
But as we've said, it's gone on then to create its own things enough. There are enough original ideas in this on top.
Yeah, definitely.
That make this completely, don't they? They make this its own thing. It's not just a rehashing, as it were, is it at all?
No, not at all.
And I think it's quite blatant about its influences in a positive way.
I think the first level of Max Payne was in a tube station, like that fight.
Most of the game was, like that
it
thing.
Was great.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get basically the ending, which is a pretty cool ending, which is the only bit about the Oracle bit I liked. Neo dies, but then I never noticed before, but the Oracle says, you're not the one, maybe in your next life. So that's the point, that's why he dies. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, okay, I'd never noticed that before. I was quite happy I worked that out this time. So he comes back to life, and he's just fucking super powerful. He stops everyone's bullets. He does that really cool, like, slow-mo martial arts thing. And then he dives into Smith, explodes out of him. And, we just get that very last shot where you get the voiceover.
That makes sense, right?
Oh, he's all powerful now, isn't he? He can do anything. And as Sam said, you get that great last shot where he kind of does a big voiceover how he's coming for everyone, and then
I'm coming to get you.
Flies into the air as Rage Against the Machine kicks off on the soundtrack, which is a great final song.
And
I would say.
Has there ever been like a franchise that has has such a fantastic like teaser end shot of like, oh shit, now I can fly, and then just blown it so badly.
No,
as the Matrix does with the sequel.
No, I don't think there has,
because it's such a cool ending, isn't it? You're like, oh wow, like now you can fly, and you're like, oh
yeah, it's a brilliant ending.
It should just be that.
It's a brilliant. What did we all think overall then? Because I'm feeling that everyone was pretty positive. Chris, what was your overall thoughts with The Matrix?
Yeah, great. I think the pacing of it is perfect. Like, it ticks along at a perfect sort of click.
Yeah. Did you think it was dated? Did you think the effects and stuff looked bad, or do you think they just still look good? Or
no, for me, I think the only thing it dates it in my mind is for the reason I said, like, because of the era it came out, we were a certain age, and it had really like tapped into that that sort of teenage, what's wrong with the world sort of thing. But I wouldn't say it's date. It's sort of more nostalgia.
Yeah. But, no, I agree. Yeah. What do you think, Sam?
And you're right, because of the era it's set and things like that, I don't see it as dating.
No.
Like, it's not.
Yeah.
No, and I think the effects stood up. I mean, none of the effects looked bad to me. They all looked pretty good to me.
The bendy spoon with the Buddhist kid was the only effect I was like, this is a bit
maybe
awful. Yeah.
What was your overall then, Sam? Were you happy to watch it again?
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting to be very disappointed because I thought it was going to be dated. Having like since The Matrix, grown up and read a lot of Gibson and done a bit of a philosophy degree, and like got into Ghost in the Shell and like all the things its influences. I like those sorts of things. I expected to find this very hokey and like nonsense, but really, like you say, it's very obvious with its influences, but is telling a story that isn't those influences. It's not afraid to go, we've ripped off all these theories, but we've put it in this very late 90s package that isn't aged, but it's of its time in a way that's really good and really sort of, like the gun fetish and the martial arts, excuse me, and the look of it and all this sort of stuff is very much its own thing, which got ripped off a lot. And really, like, that's what a film, no film's in isolation of its influences.
Yeah.
And this is sort of the best case scenario of taking that and making something iconic and new with it. And I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it more recently than 10 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. No.
I think there's something positive in the sense that we've had some pretty deep conversations just by talking to the themes about this film. It's pretty, and it was such a big film at the time. I mean,
totally.
That's
and a lot of those things. Like
next time that happened, I think was like Inception or like a Nolan film. Maybe I don't know when that happened again. That sort of thing.
Yeah. I think a lot of those things that I have read and experienced afterward is because of this film. Like, this turned me on to a lot of that kind of concept of it. Definitely, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing I'll say is the soundtrack, which is really good. The score. But it is. Have you ever heard Philip Glass's soundtrack to? I'm probably saying this wrong. Kayanis Gatsi.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Yeah.
Pro Igo. It's used in a lot of trailers, and this is so much a rip off of that, isn't it? Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
massively rip off of it.
It's a good score, though.
It is a good.
It's a great score.
Yeah, the theme
just very strange to hear how much it is that kind of Glass, Steve Reich sort of minimalist sort of thing. But it was still good though. It was a weird thing to realise. Like, oh shit, this is a complete rip off as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, Alex, what was your?
No, and I agree with what everyone said, and I think it is thoroughly entertaining. Like, I think that Chris is bang on. There's just enough of the talking, just enough of the heavy stuff. Not too much where the sequels went wrong. I think it's just enough in there to be interesting and to be thought-provoking, but next thing you know, there's something blowing up or there's some cool fighting, or like it really powers through. I mean, it's a long film, but it didn't feel long to me at all. I mean, I just enjoyed all of it. It was just all really enjoyable.
It's long, but like how many parts do you have for your work?
Got to 11 parts. I went into about 11 parts.
Like, normally have 3 or 4. There's a hell of a lot packed into it, isn't there?
Oh yeah, loads happen.
It gets through so much ground.
Yeah, and a lot, and all character. I mean, I think every character in there is pretty well developed, reasonably. I mean, the ones that all just die, it doesn't matter. But the main characters are all very well. Yeah. You're right. You've got an iconic villain there. I think Morpheus is a great character. Trinity's interesting. Neo is just Keanu, but in a good way. It plays on. It's very well cast. You're right, and it plays on Keanu's strengths very well. No, and I really, 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 I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. I really did. I'm with you. I thought I'd put it on and just be like, oh my God, how could I have ever liked this? Like, oh my God. But not at all. No, not at all. But where does it go? Where is it going to be ranked? Who's going to go first?
For me, I'd say number 3.
Number 3. So, Aliens, Jurassic Park, The Matrix. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of these films high up that we've returned to and are trading on nostalgia in a way that this had nostalgia working against it in the sense that we all thought it was going to be worse, but actually it was better. In the same way of Donnie Darko, when we watched that, we thought that would be awful, but actually, given space, it was really good. So, yeah.
Chris, what do you think?
I was going to put it slightly lower than that, but the thing is, I find with these top-end films here, they're all kind of interchangeable for me in different ways. So I take some solace that, Jurassic Park isn't top because it's,
they're all brilliant films.
They're all brilliant films. We're getting this is the very high altitude.
Yeah, I agree.
Sort of
I agree.
But you agree it deserves to be up there in that company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd probably rewatch it. I'd rewatch it more than Predator and Star Wars and RoboCop, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alex?
I think you're right. It deserves to be in this top 10. Again, I agree with Chris. I think all these films here are just brilliant films, and it doesn't really matter where they are. They're all just great. I love Predator, but is this better than Predator? I think maybe because everything it does is so. I think it scores on so many more levels. Probably it scores on a few more levels than Predator. So
I mean, a much more sophisticated story.
Yeah, and more iconic. I mean, Predator's iconic to me, but how iconic
Predator
is it beyond
kind of
that?
perfect, isn't it? Though.
Yeah,
it is.
But this has got more heavyweight stuff in it that Predator doesn't even touch on. And as a science fiction film, Predator doesn't really create a world, whereas this does create almost two worlds.
Thing is, I would watch Predator before. I'd watch Predator right now. I wouldn't watch The Matrix right now.
Number 4, then?
You've only just watched The Matrix, though.
Well, I watched Predator that long ago.
I mean, I'm not saying rewatchability is the be-all and end-all, because I wouldn't rewatch Star Wars all the time. It's just... I think the pros for a Matrix are very, very, very strong compared to these. I know what you're saying. It's base. It's perfect Predator in a lot of ways. It's very base.
Well,
I think it's important to have these
It's true. This is aiming a lot higher,
subject
isn't it?
matter, and they've aimed high and they've hit it. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah,
that's the.
And also, I think Sam...
And also, like, as well as aiming high... Sorry, Alex. Aiming high in that sort of sense. But it's also, like, a well-made, well-shot...
Oh, yeah.
Well-created film, isn't it? Like, technically, it's superb, isn't it?
Yeah.
As well, which is another achievement.
And also, Sam, I think you're forgetting that you've already put Predator in to be rewatched next year.
That's true.
So I actually think maybe this should be at 3, because Predator's going to get another shot anyway.
The filmmakers who made The Matrix, I mean, did they come from nowhere? Like...
They did. Was it Blood Simple?
Bound.
Is that them?
Bound.
That's it. Yeah.
So basically,
it's a good film, isn't it?
It is. They pitched this to Joel Silver, and he was a bit like, it's a bit too. I can't really. You have not made anything. I can't really let you have this now. And then they went and made Bound, and that did really well on quite a low budget. Joe, what's his face, is in that, and because of that, the studio was happy to trust them with something this big. And also the other thing is that they a lot of people didn't get the script, so what they did was they had a load of storyboards commissioned, and when they went in to pitch, they showed people the storyboards, and once people saw some of the stuff, they were just like, yeah, do it, like that looks amazing. So I think that
I think it would be difficult to pitch The Matrix because
Oh,
it's a very pedestrian world in some ways, visually.
Well, it sounds pretentious as well, and it isn't.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
I think a pitch would sound pretentious, like the other two are.
And also, people, we're in the era where it's all based on a technological, computerized thing, which not everyone was on that page.
No, that's true. Yeah,
but also it's one of those rare things as well, where like the studio not being into it has probably benefited the film, because if you think of their output after it, like I know you love Speed Racer, Alex.
I do.
I think that's an awful film.
Yep.
Jupiter Ascending, Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
Like what the V for Vendetta. They're all very flawed films. where they've obviously got too much control, haven't they?
Yeah.
And this is obviously the sweet spot. Or the sequels as well. There's another prime example where give them a blank check and they go and make a
This is This is Alien for Ridley Scott. This is
totally.
Yeah.
It's the intersection of talent and what's the word?
Timing.
Restraint. Isn't it?
Obscurity as well.
Yeah. Of someone there going, no, you can't do this. You've got to rein this in, but then working within it correctly. Yeah. No, it's in a way that Alien 3 is for David Fincher.
Yeah. Well, it's in at number 3. That is a pretty.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a big film, and it weighs in a big number, which is number 3. Should we go to the past to see what's next week?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hello again. We are back from the past. It's another big film this week. Another big 4K release. Another big film. It's 1995's not Westworld.
I thought you were going to say Wet World.
Wet World. It's 1995's Waterworld.
It should have been called Wet World.
Wet World.
It should, yeah. Kevin Costner's epic classic. So, have we all seen Westworld?
Waterworld.
Waterworld. Have we all seen Waterworld?
Yeah. Yes, we have. Yeah.
How recently?
A long time ago. I think I may have seen this at the cinema, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then not.
I think I saw it like a couple of years ago.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
I think it was on TV or something. I quite like it. But
right.
The future,
No.
and everything's wet.
Yeah, it's the future. Basically, the ice caps have melted and the world has become a water world, you might say. Kevin Costner plays the mariner, who is a lone drifter who trades commodities across these outposts in the sea. And he comes into conflict with Dennis Hopper as the deacon and his town. And it's sort of like a Wild West film. It's kind of like a retelling of
Mad Max.
What's the first spaghetti western?
Fistful of Dollars, or
Fistful of Dollars. Yeah. It's a bit like that. Really,
it's a water western.
A fistful of fish.
I mean, famously like a huge flop, but it actually made money. So I don't know why it gets that, moniker. There's a lot of worse films in terms of box office. Anyway, let's watch a trailer for Waterworld.
And the oceans rose. Centuries later, few people remain on this planet once called Earth. Among them, a man who still searches. A woman who still hopes.
I remember quite enjoying that as a kid. Like, it wasn't, I'd never turn it off.
No.
So, it'd be interesting to see what it's like as an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, big, huge release. I sent you the details. It's 4 discs, isn't it? It's 3 versions of the film.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, a lot. Did you say why?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that's a good question.
Well, yeah, we were asking that a little bit, but we don't know why. But yeah, there's 3 different versions. Yeah.
Isn't one like a 3.5 hour cut as well? Like loads of extra stuff in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of them said something about banned material, and I don't know what that means, but anyway, we'll find out. I'll get more details.
Do you remember his webbed feet?
Yeah.
Remember his webbed feet? Oh, he's really grossed me out, his webbed feet did.
Didn't have gills behind
that's
the ears.
next week. Yeah, he has got yours behind his, yeah. So join us next week for a look at Waterworld. Thank you both. Bye-bye.
Bye. So there you go. Next week is
Waterworld. Another big one for different reasons.
Yeah.
Another perfect movie.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. There's no news, is there? There's no correspondence.
That's what the Matrix should be. Waterworld. Like if they kept humans in the world.
No, but actually the film as well, not the world.
Yeah.
They're actually in the Kevin Costner film.
Yeah. Oh god, that would be awful. Well, we'll find about.
Like they were like fun robots. Yeah, they kept like changing the film. Like, let's put them in like It's a Wonderful Life. Let's put them in, like all different films.
Them. Yeah, that'd be quite good. Yeah. There you go. Well, if they're rebooting it, they can try some of those ideas. Yeah. Who knows? Well, thank you very much. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye, Chris.
Bye.
Goodbye, Sam. Goodbye.
Oh, bye.
Bye.